Right. Can you hear me? Great. Thank you so much for everyone joining us today. My name is Polina. Oh, great. And thank you for everybody joining us online as well. It's really nice to meet you. It's a pleasure to welcome everyone at our webinar today, The Plant-Based Revolution, the World in Japan. So as everybody has been following the trends and developments in the food and beverage industry, the plant-based has been one of the biggest disruptors, and it's exciting to be following that in our decade. So we are very, very happy to host this event today from Tokyo, and especially through collaboration, because today it's very important that we have a lot of interesting speakers from different different categories and different types of organizations collaborating together and promoting innovation in the plant-based category. So to start with, I would like to quickly go from, just a second, please. I would like to go through today's outline. So today's webinar is going to be split up in two different parts. So the first part is going to be a presentation focused on the plant-based revolution. You're going to see and hear a lot of different new developments and insight of the plant-based industry in Japan and abroad. And we're also going to share some interesting recommendations and advices on what are the opportunities and challenges for the plant-based players in Japan and in the world. The second part of our webinar today is also going to be focused on the plant-based pitches. We've invited 7 different companies, 4 from around the world and 3 in Japan, who are going to share their innovative solutions, and also they're going to share more about their products. So please stay tuned to hear those pitches. Since today we have some limited time, about an hour, if you have any questions or you would like to further connect with the speakers, please stay after the event because we're going to have a networking session. So during that networking session, you can ask your questions, you can connect, you can also interact with the speakers. But if you don't have time, I'm going to share a form in the end of the webinar so you can fill up your information and we can connect you post the event. And before we kick off our presentation, I want to share a little bit more about us. So we at GourmetPro are happy to be hosting the event today. And what we're doing is actually we're an exclusive network of food and beverage freelance consultants in Japan. And we provide end-to-end solutions for our clients' operations to and in Japan. And we're very happy to be hosting the event promoting innovation in our sector because of course, Japan is one of the key players in Asia and the region, and we would like to promote more and more new developments in the industry. So to kick it off, I would like to invite Duko, our presenter. So please. Duko is the co-president and CEO of JOF. This is an import agency of organic and plant-based food, and he's also an advisor at GourmetPro. So thank you so much, Duko. Oh, you can
Good afternoon. Thank you very much, Polina, for the introduction. I hope that everyone here and everyone joining us online will get some benefit from this presentation. And I do want to thank Polina for helping me to put it together. First, on the next slide, please. So first, let's have a look at the differences between the terms vegan, plant-based, and cell-based. Vegan excludes all food associated with animal exploitation. Plant-based, like vegan, excludes animal protein, but the primary message is about the environment and the benefits for the environment. Cell-based foods are produced in a laboratory or, of course, eventually in a factory from animal cells to replicate meat, milk, cheese, etc., without needing to farm or kill animals, also bringing huge environmental benefits. Next, please. The shift from animal rather, to plant and cell-based food will be the biggest food revolution in our lifetime. Why? Well, if we look at some of the previous revolutions that we've had in food, going clockwise from top right, humans evolved by adding animal protein to the diet around 2.5 million years ago. And about 500,000 years ago, they started to cook the meat. Then we had the agricultural revolution, or actually several agricultural revolutions, starting around 10,000 BC, and the most recent one in the middle of the last century, which included new technologies such as high-yielding varieties, agrochemicals, and also intensive agriculture and intensive animal agriculture. But it is the overconsumption of animal protein and processed foods has severely impacted our health and the health of the planet. Shifting back to a plant-based diet combined with cell-based foods will be the biggest food revolution of our lifetime. And this revolution has just begun. So next slide, please. Who and what are the key drivers of this revolution? Well, first, us, the consumers, the people. We're concerned about animal welfare, health, and now especially the environment and climate change are increasingly leading people to either cut down or, a bit closer, or totally eliminate their intake of animal protein. Companies are also working very hard to close the gap with animal protein equivalents in terms of taste and texture, and also very importantly, in terms of price, to actually get to close the gap and to eventually become cheaper than the animal protein equivalent. Incredible progress is being made on all fronts. And thinking logically, if we can have a level playing field, and when the economies of scale kick in, those targets, those goals should be achieved. Investors invested a record $2 billion in alt protein and fermented foods in 2020. And it looks like this amount is going to just keep increasing year after year. Opinion leaders in various areas, sports, entertainers, business, chefs, and increasingly the founders of the plant-based food companies are all helping to drive awareness and change. Media and social media, of course, play a huge role. And then we have government. I believe that governments have collectively committed possibly the biggest travesty of our time by continuously supporting an industry that has probably caused more suffering, illness, and death for humans, let alone animals, than anything else, as well as compromising our ecosystem. Government must now act urgently to change policies and reduce subsidies that support animal agriculture and shift the agenda towards plant and cell-based. Well, now, of course, we're in the middle of COP26. What will the outcome be? And I hear that plant-based food is not really on the agenda, which would be astounding if that is not the case. Regardless of what comes out of COP26, governments will follow because they will have no choice. And finally, of course, Mother Nature will be the biggest driver. She will constantly remind us through higher temperatures, storms, floods, droughts, fires, pandemics, and more, that we must change dramatically or suffer the consequences. This chart shows the relentless growth in dairy, meat, and seafood consumption, production rather, since 1961, which is as far back as the data goes. Over this period, dairy production has grown nearly 3 times, from 340 million to 850 million tons, while meat and fish production combined have grown about 5 times, from 110 million to 550 million tons. Next, please. Seafood production alone has increased 5.4 times to 200 million tons. Captured wild fish, which you can see at the bottom, plateaued a few decades ago due to exhausted fish stocks. But aquaculture, fish farms, stepped in to help meet the growing demand, and in fact overtook captured wild fish in volume quite a few years ago. But aquaculture also comes with a lot of problems, of course. Thank you. We need to reach peak dairy, meat, and seafood, or rather peak animal agriculture and fishing as soon as possible, latest by 2025. Actually, it's possible that peak meat has already been reached because the data is a few years old. And the FAO, the Food Agriculture Organization, reported that annual meat production in 2019 declined for only the second time in history. In any case, we need to bring production back, as you can see here, to 1960 levels by 2060 or sooner, and even lower would be better, meaning, of course, substantially lower per capita consumption, as I will illustrate. Here you can see per capita meat and seafood consumption for various regions of the world, and also the world itself, which is fourth from the bottom, the world average. The US tops the chart at almost 150 kilogram per person per year. That is about 410 grams of meat or fish every single day. The next is Australia and New Zealand, and then Europe. Preference for meat type or seafood, of course, varies according to region. Looking at the world average, as I mentioned before, seafood is the largest, followed by pork and poultry or chicken, which is also preferred in the US, poultry that is, US, Australia, and South America. Pork is more popular in Europe and Asia, while for Japan and Asia as a whole, fish is the #1 choice. Here we can see per capita consumption over time for various regions of the world and total world again, which is the red line, which is consistently growing, growing, growing. The US has always had the highest level. Japan has seen a significant increase over time, and we'll talk more about that in a minute. Until recently, it has dropped in the last years. China had an even steeper growth. You can see China in the light green line had a huge increase, especially from 1980 onwards, and is still growing. Interestingly, India, which is not shown on the graph, but it's very easy to explain, has consistently had a meat consumption, and even if you add in the fish, of only around 4 kilogram per person per year, substantially lower than everywhere else. And it has held that, of course, largely due to their religious and cultural beliefs. But it shows it is necessary. If we are to return to 1960 total production levels by 2060 or sooner, global consumption of dairy, and you can see it on the left, dairy is in white, needs to decline from 90 to 33 kilogram per person per year. And to give you a feeling for that, it's about 90 grams per day. This represents a 64% reduction. Meat and seafood combined, which is shown in yellow, needs to decline from 71 to 11 kilogram per person per year, but that's still a lot more than they're eating in India every day now. So that's about sorry, that's about 30 grams per day. It's representing, though, an 84% reduction. It seems very ambitious, but it is possible and it is absolutely necessary. Yes, please. Okay, let's look at the environmental impact of livestock agriculture, animal agriculture. It uses about 38% of Earth's habitable land, 15% of human-induced greenhouse gas emissions, 30% of freshwater consumption, and 50% of grains are fed to livestock, not to humans. No matter which way you look at it, the environmental impact is huge. Next, thanks. So, what if we replace meat with plant-based meat? What would the impact be? Well, it's up to a 90% reduction in land use, a 90% reduction in greenhouse gas emissions, and also in fresh water use. It is at 90% for beef. It is somewhat lower for other forms of meat and fish, but nevertheless, we are talking about a huge positive impact on the environment by switching to plant-based. Okay, here we see the different categories of plant-based food. At the top left, it shows produce, which is not included in statistics because that's the primary ingredients or products, the fruits, the vegetables, legumes, grains, nuts, and seeds. Then we have plant-based meat, including, for example, chicken, beef, pork, but of course there are others. Plant-based processed seafood, so fish and other types of seafood. Dairy, including, you can see the different items there. And then we go on to honey, eggs, and other forms of plant-based food. So a lot of different categories. What about some of the protein sources? A lot of people say, oh, you can't get your protein from plants. Well, of course, those of us in the plant-based business knows that is a huge fallacy. And this gives you an impression of just some of the emerging plant-based sources of protein. And you'll be seeing some of these in the presentations coming up. You may be surprised to see soy there, but I mention it because even in soy, which is, of course, you see a lot in Japan, there are new ways of using soy, which again, we will hear a little bit about later. Thank you. So the market, how is the market doing for plant-based food? Well, it is growing rapidly. You can see there meat, dairy, and others. Dairy is the largest category, but you can see looking forward between 2020 and 2030, meat is going to be doing a lot of catching up with dairy. And in total, we're talking about a market that's already now around close to $30 billion, which they expect to multiply around about 5 times, 6 times to $175 billion by 2030. So you may be wondering, what is this? Well, this is a beautiful arrangement of the literally hundreds of companies all over the world that are now active in plant-based foods. And my apologies to anyone if they're missing, but I challenge you to find it quickly. And some of the companies, of course, go way back, possibly to the war or even sooner, a few. But most of these companies have evolved in the last 5 or 10 years, where there's been a huge influx into this amazing new category. Moreover, just about every large food conglomerate and every large substantial meat, fish, and dairy company has started to get into this business. I guess they've decided if you can't beat them, join them, and they realize this is where the future is. Okay, what about Japan? What about Japan? Because we want to talk about Japan, of course. Well, this is an interesting fact. Maybe most of you know, but nevertheless, it's worth reminding ourselves. In 675 AD, Emperor Temmu placed a ban on meat consumption. Decision-making was much easier in those days. Well, for about 1,200 years, the Japanese followed a predominantly plant-based or vegetarian diet, and it was known and still is known as Shojin Ryori, connected, of course, to Buddhist beliefs. The ban was finally lifted by Emperor Meiji in 1872. Thereafter, meat consumption grew substantially in Japan. And you can see there that for all those years, for all that time of around 1200 years and longer, meat consumption was below 1 kilogram per person per year, below 1 kilogram. But then, especially after the Meiji Restoration, and then again, especially after World War II, the influence of foreigners encouraged, how can I say, the Japanese to eat more meat to the point where it is now close to 50 kilo, it reached about 50 kilogram per person per year. That is a huge increase. Now, foreign influence played a big role in the increase, and it now needs to play a big role again in helping to decrease the consumption. So, but in Japan, the plant-based food market is still small. It's just around about $1.2 billion in 2020 and is forecasted to grow. Here we have the numbers until 2025, around about 1.8 billion. In the middle, you can see plant-based milk. It is the biggest sector. And of course, soy milk especially has been in Japan for a very long time. Almond milk came onto the scene around 7 years ago. Oat milk, which is booming all around the world, in Japan is still not yet very well established. It's very, very early days. Other categories, plant-based meat is still niche for sure, and other categories are nascent. How can we summarize the plant-based market, the plant-based food market in Japan? Well, we've just seen it's a small market. Inertia applies very well, correctly, I think, to Japan in many areas, not in all areas, but certainly in the plant-based food market. And also, I will say from my own experience, in the organic food market, by the way. The selection and the displays are small for the moment in supermarkets. Here is one picture from one mainstream supermarket. This is one of the better examples. It's clearly marked plant-based, and it's a decent-sized, I would say, section. In most supermarkets, it is much, much smaller, sometimes not even there, or there might be 1 or 2 products, and it won't be merchandised in this way, so it's very difficult for people to find it. To give you an idea, the products here are usually around about 100 to 200 grams, very small size, and the prices are somewhere normally between 200 and 300 yen only. It's kind of already pitched at a kind of a commodity level, and it's all Japanese producers in this particular supermarket, no imports. Not surprising because it's chilled, and of course the imports are more than likely going to have to be frozen. Oh, and sorry, going on from that, a growing number of suppliers are coming in mainly local, very few imports, and yes, price matters. Okay. Here you can see some of the plant-based food companies in Japan. For plant-based meat, Dai's, which we'll be presenting later on, was established in 2015. Others are more recent. The big meat companies, Ito Ham, Nippon Ham, which is NH Foods, were launched only in 2020. Marukome, which is Japan's leading miso producer, launched Dai's Labo in 2020. For plant-based milk, Kikkoman's Kibun brand has over 50% of the market. It's the dominant player. And Marusan is a very strong number 2 brand. And Glico, which you can see there, Zaki Glico, is the leading brand for almond milk, launched in 2013. Okay. What about imported brands of plant-based food in Japan? For plant-based milk, there's a lot. It's not surprising. It's UHT. It has a fairly long shelf life, and it's the more mature category. So there are quite a few brands that you can see there on the left with the logos. Plant-based cheese, a few brands have come in only very recently. You can see the three mentioned there that we've seen so far. There might be others. And for plant-based meat, one of our presenters again, Omni. I'm not saying it's the only one, but it's the only one that's immediately visible that we can see. Okay, what about consumers in Japan? Well, they have different buying criteria regarding plant-based food compared with consumers in other countries. Health, incorporating safe and natural are important, as well as taste and price. But most consumers in Japan don't readily relate to sustainability or animal cruelty, not to the same extent that you can find it in other countries. And they're not so familiar with foreign terms like vegan, for example. Okay. What about food service in Japan? Well, again, it's been a bit slow to evolve. Here you see some of the examples. The burger chains like the Japan company Moss Burger, but also Burger King, and another local company, Freshness Burger, have introduced plant-based versions, and you see a few other fast food chains there also. McDonald's, not yet. KFC, not yet. So basically, again, Japan is, I would say, behind the curve compared to what's going on in other countries. And also, there are relatively few exclusive vegan or plant-based restaurants in Japan compared with other countries. So what are the challenges and opportunities for foreign suppliers? Well, the key drivers of plant-based in most countries are a bit weaker in Japan. We talked about health, yes, but environment and animal welfare, less so. So that's something to keep in mind. It is still a niche market. For product and branding, you need to make sure that your brands are going to be understandable, linked again with the above comment, suitable and attractive to the Japanese. The quality, of course, we all know about Japanese total quality in every respect has to be top, including down to the packaging and labeling. Price, of course, will be challenging. You've got to import it, bring it across the world, import duties perhaps, and you saw what the prices were before. That's going to be challenging. And with inflation kicking in around the world now, that's just adding to that problem. Then the obvious ones, getting the distribution. I talked a bit about if it's frozen coming in and locally it's in the fresh section, that's a challenge. And inertia, how to overcome the inertia. But we have to focus on the opportunities. We like the challenges, don't we? So it is a great long-term market potential, and the tipping point will come sooner rather than later. So to summarize and conclude, the shift from animal agriculture to plant-based, from animal food to plant-based food and cell-based food, will be the biggest revolution in our lifetime. Peak animal agriculture and fishing will be achieved, I'm sure, by 2025, if not sooner. We're getting there. We're very close to it. But then comes the big, more important step of getting the levels way, way back down. Japan has to catch up. Companies have to get all 4 Ps right. We all know the 4 Ps of marketing. And of course, cultured and hybrid are coming up next, which is good news for all of us, I think. About 30 years ago, in 1992, I went from Japan back to England, midlife crisis, I don't know what. But anyway, I was wandering the bookstores and I came across the environmental books. It was, of course, the time of the Rio Summit. And I came across Beyond the Limits, which was only just published at that time. It was my wake-up call, though it has taken me also a long time to do so, I should say. Now, the authors first published the book from this series, I hope most of you know it, in 1972, called The Limits to Growth. The Japanese Ministry of Economy, Trade and Industry even refer to it. That's why they started nuclear energy, by the way. But the point is, in 2004, the book on the right, Limits to Growth, the 30-year update, was published. And the authors stated, we are much more pessimistic about the global future than we were in 1972. Humanity has largely squandered the last 30 years. Much will have to change if the ongoing overshoot is not followed by collapse in the 21st century, which is where we are now. And they did forecast using computer modeling the middle of this century. We're getting close to it. We must now embrace this incredible challenge and opportunity. With plant-based, really everyone's a winner. Fewer animals will suffer short lives of total misery, and their conditions can be greatly improved. Our planet Earth has a chance to recover, and people can improve their health with delicious, diverse, plant-based options like never before. And of course, take action to look after future generations and the animals. And companies have a unique and massive opportunity to grow profitably and do good. And that's a perfect way, I think, to end and to hand over to the wonderful companies that will follow now and introduce their great plant-based products. Thank you very much for your time and attention.
Thank you so much, Duko, for the wonderful presentation. I think they were very interesting facts and key insights that everybody could hear and also learn about not only the world, but also Japan. And we are very happy now to move to the second part of our webinar, which is the pitches. So we've invited 7 companies from around the world, and we are going to have 1 company from abroad, but also 1 company from Japan, and we're going to rotate them. So let's dive into them and learn more about their innovative solutions. So first, I would like to invite Sajjad Kamal from Floatmeal. This is a company, a startup from Japan, based in Hokkaido. So I would like to invite Sajjad to share his screen and welcome him to present a little bit more about Floatmeal.
Hello, can you hear me? Okay, thank you very much. Thank you, Paulina, thank you, Paulina, and then GourmetPro, and then eventually Venture Cafe Tokyo for this amazing opportunity to talk with you. So we are Floatmeal. I'm Sajjad Kamal. We are based in Hokkaido, and if you have lived in Japan, it's the bread basket of Hokkaido. So we came here with a startup, which basically means, which our motto is to farm the future. So what are we trying to farm? Let's see. So we introduce a sustainable plant protein solution for consumers and businesses. So as Duko already suggested, that almost 15% of the total greenhouse gas emission comes from our feedstock, livestock. However, 30% of the total greenhouse gas emission actually comes from our food systems. That includes transportation and also land usage. So in order to solve these issues, we have come up with a solution to use a duckweed plant protein, which is called duckweed Wolffia. And we are developing technologies to grow this most efficiently as possible. So let's look at what we can do with duckweed Wolffia. So on the left side, you can see that tiny green plants, they're actually floating plants. They can grow on the water. And with our technology, they can contain the highest amount of vitamin B12 and protein possible. And on the left side, it's the fresh duckweed. On the right side, you can see this is the dry duckweed. So we have tried many different products, and right now we are also working with many food artisans to create our own kind of product. And it can be molded into different types of plant-based food. that we are now exploring. So in order to show you some of the specifications of the duckweed Wolffia, I have listed them down here. So on the top right, you can see the fresh duckweed. We just harvest it from the water media that we control in a very controlled environment. So the fresh duckweed and the dry duckweed have a little bit of differences. So in terms of nutrient, the 40% of the dry weight is protein for duckweed. And then comes the vitamin B12, which is plant-based and rare in soybeans. And the processability and also the heat stability of these nutrients, we have also tested them. So we actually grow the duckweed not in the water outside or not in the ponds or lakes, but we grow the duckweed in a precision farming system that we are currently developed. Like we have already done a prototype and we're doing a pilot. So this prototype precision farming system can help the businesses to grow the duckweed protein close to their factories that can help them with the material, plant-based protein material acquisition. So basically our technology involves with growing duckweed, reusing the water, and all of these is combined and maintained with the IoT and machine learning algorithms that we are developing. And we also use some unique growth promotion technologies from bacteria, which is basically our research. So we are doing a pilot in Hokkaido University. And on the left side, you can see our controlled production in the incubators. And we are also doing the research and development. Long, it's around 5 months or so. And in that time, growing a very high quality protein source inside a greenhouse is becoming a very interesting idea to many farmers and also the people we have talked with. So we are growing, we're actually creating, and we have created some of the out our duckweed. We can send you in not in a very nice packaging, but we're in some kind of a Ziploc bag. However, we guarantee the quality. So, and won the Halt Prize at Hokkaido University. We moved forward without
Sajjad, there is the audio
Okay,
is
can
cut.
you hear me?
Yes, now it's better. Thank
Oh,
you.
I'm really sorry for the microphone
No
disruption.
problem.
All right. So
Please go.
as we started in 2020, we moved into the Halt Prize regional finals in Bangkok. After that, we kept on going through different accelerators and the competitions. We stood. So recently, due to our climate and also social impact potential, we have been given around $40,000 for an R&D project by the JST, which is the Japan Science and Technology Agency. And we have recently been announced the winner for the climate launchpad theme, the next big thing. So this is how far we have done so far. However, we are currently talking with many companies, and I also wish to talk with you. So basically, plant-based protein market is not small, as you already know, because we all already here to know about it. So these are some data, and we intend to target the Japan market, which is around 647.7 million. Our value proposition basically is these 3 points that is going to create the demand of duckweed protein. First is the 9% and 2.7% vegetarians and vegans in Japan, and many of them have soy allergies. And then we have the plant-based revolution, which is creating all this plant-based meat and food. And then the recent pandemic have also shown us that we have to kind of start producing locally. So All of these combined, our key drivers are going to be these 3 points: soil agent free, domestic source, and environmentally sustainable production.
Thank you so much. Sorry for interrupting you, Sajjad, but we are out of time.
Time's up. Okay, so this is a very big impact of the float meal protein. So please contact us, and I'm really looking forward to talking with you about it. Thank you.
Thank you so much for this presentation, Sajjad. It was very informative. And thank you for joining us today. If anybody has any questions, please join us at our virtual networking event after the webinar. So next, I would like to welcome Riko Kurosaka, who's the Business Development Officer of Green Manner and Omni. He is actually here with us today, so I would like to give the mic to him now.
Hi, hello everyone. Thank you, Paulina, for introducing me. I'd like to start the presentation now. I think I only have 3 minutes, so let's get started. Sure. So as introduced, I'm Riku from Green Monday. Let me show you what our private brand, Omni Foods, provides to give purpose to all. Omni Foods is the first Asia's leading company in plant-based meat brand. The founder, David, says we create Omni for all people, all cuisines, and for the common good of all beings and our planet. There are 3 lineups of Omni Meat series. From the left, Omni Meat means, means type Omni Meat means, luncheon meat type Omni Meat luncheon, and meat strip type Omni Meat strip. As you can see the nutrient table underneath, each product is designed to be healthy with superior nutrients. The bottom icons indicate its versatility to different diets, as well as ensuring its food safety. In Japan, we have Omni Meat mince available as an alternative protein option to minced meat. The primary protein is made out of soybeans, peas, shiitake mushroom, and rice. We have a high standard of healthy and food safety by proudly announcing non-GMO, no added MSG, and no added preservatives. Even comparing the nutrients with chicken as the healthiest meat, Omni Meat mince has 60% lower calories, 94% lower fat, 4.6 gram higher fibers. Last but not least, its versatility in cooking application is very high. It can be pan-fried, deep-fried, steamed, stewed with not much preparation. All you need to do is thaw it beforehand in water or in fridge. Since it's high quality in taste and cooking application, we have collaborated with a wide range of brands under Omni Inside scheme. For example, in Japan, we have Utsunomiya style Gyoza using Omni meat for its filling inside. Our international partner portfolio shows our product high quality and its wide range of usage as well. You can see the mega fast food chain store, McDonald's, international cafe chain, Starbucks, and other iconic larger scale brands on the slide as a mere portion of our partner list. The Japanese portfolio has been expanding steadily since its debut, despite the pandemic situation. We see many launches in high-end hotels to restaurants, which put their emphasis on the menu quality. Retail sales is also increasing by having oasis and multiple natural-oriented shops nationwide. The quality has been catching attention from all over the world as expanding to different markets outside of Asia too. Here in Japan, Omni Foods has not reached to the same level as its birthplace, Hong Kong. Yet the presence has been stressed more than ever with all the launches happened throughout the year. During the plant-based movement with us, we are always seeking for partners to make the change happen together. You can be updated on our social media. Also, we prepare some samples for the online audience, especially for today. So you can scan the QR code to test out the quality on your own. Thank you for your attention.
Yep. Thank you so much, Rico. And thank you so much for the quick pitch. Really appreciate it. And thank you also for presenting Omni from Hong Kong. Pleasure to meet you today. And for anybody that is present here today and has the interest in trying Omni, please reach out to us. And if you're online, please check the QR code. If you didn't have a chance or to network, or you cannot join us in our networking event after the webinar, please reach out to us and we'll connect you with Omni. Thank you, Rico. So next, I would like to invite Yoshinari Yoshikawa. He's the founder and CEO of Republic 9, and he's also the founder of Tokyo Vegan Gyoza. So this company is from Japan. So I would like to invite Yoshi-san to share his screen and tell us more about Tokyo Vegan Gyoza.
Can you see my screen?
Everything is great.
Great.
A little bit, maybe once again, because we are seeing maybe a little bit different than your whole screen.
Oh, different?
Could you please try to share the screen again? Maybe use slideshow.
Oh, slideshow? Oh,
or
okay.
swap displays. Yes, maybe. Oh, yes. Now it's better.
Listen?
Thank you.
Oh, great,
yes.
great. So hello, everyone. So this is Yoshinari Yoshikawa from the Republic. So let me introduce myself. So I founded a network software company called IP Infusion in San Jose, Silicon Valley in California, 1999. This company raised 20 million from Untitled Chapter and others, VCs. And then I sold this company, IP Infusion, to Access Japanese company for $50 million. After selling this company, I founded the Republic in 2019 after working as an angel investor and a consultant. So happiness in a lab. So Tokyo Vegan Gyoza's mission is to connect the family with Gyoza and wrap the world with smile. So people different tastes, ideas, beliefs, and religious views with smile at the same table and connect the people to people, connect the country to country, and generation to generation through our Gyoza. Our initial products launched the Tokyo Vegan Gyoza 1.0 July last year during COVID-19 pandemic. So why did I start a business in Gyoza? Everybody started, a lot of my friends asked me. So first of all, I think the Chinese character Gyoza has a meaning. I realized that the word Gyoza meant to make up the future. As you can see, shoku and majiwaru, ko, and the ko. So the word eat is written, a person will get better. Next to mean to the intersect, and the child was followed it. So this is, I think, the future. Slide. So you can see, so this is the founder of Gyoza. So Gyoza, Elon Musk, Gyoza, Steve Jobs. So I don't know how many people know, Dr. Cho is the founder of Gyoza. He's a practitioner of Chinese medicine. It can be said that the Gyoza were medicine made by the doctor almost 1800 years ago. Not just tasty Gyoza. Gyoza is a medicine. I'd like to do business that connect to the future with the image of the next 1800 years. That is like our vision. So we donate to the, a lot of Gyoza to the 58 hospital around Tokyo. And also we donate to the children cafeteria in Shibuya. And it offers free food to the poor Japanese children. So I spent almost 20 years in California, but I didn't know. So a lot of the poor children in Tokyo. That's why we made decision to donate to the Gyoza. So Tokyo Vegan Gyoza is almost $10 for 30 pieces. This is very, very cheap. I'll give you is a special 20% discount coupon code for everyone who participate today. So please take this opportunity to try our Gyoza. So Tokyo Vegan Gyoza made using the only carefully selected Japanese vegetable and soy protein. Soy protein by the Fuji oil, Fuji seiyu. And the alcohol-free miso, so no MSG, so no palm oil is used. So Tokyo Vegan Gyoza 2.0, so will be released sometime next month. So that's exciting news. So we are going to sell Tokyo Vegan Gyoza at Beta Shibuya from November 15th. Also, this is exciting news for us. So here are 3 of assets. So what can do Gyoza, and so focusing Gyoza, and science of Gyoza, and from Tokyo to the world. This is our 3 assets. So we have a Gyoza company, but we have big pictures. So this is the future of the Tokyo Vegan Gyoza factory. So while imagining sustainable future, I'd like to build a Gyoza factory with a vertical farming and protein lab like this. The release date is not undecided, but we are developing the Gyoza robot like this. So we are going to prepare this robot Gyoza around Shibuya. This is a picture of the Tokyo Vegan Gyoza kitchen cart. So we want to sell our Gyoza, making a Gyoza delivery at the same time. I hope Japanese customer like it. So this is our company. So thank you very much for listening.
Thank you so much, Yoshi-san. It was very great to hear your presentation and your future plans with Tokyo Vegan Gyoza. We are very excited to try it out.
Thank you.
And thank you for the coupon code for our attendees. Great, so let's move to our next speaker, Diego. He is the Chief Business Developer of HEURA, which is a plant-based meat company from Spain. So I would like to invite Diego to share his screen. Great, thank you.
All right. Hello, everyone, and hi, Poliana, and thank you for, first of all, for this invitation. We are very happy to be here to tell you a bit about our project, HEURA. As you said, we are a plant-based startup from Barcelona, Spain. And what we do, we create plant-based meat based on our Mediterranean tradition and cuisine. And this is the milestone of what we do. This means that we create delicious and healthy food and made only with the highest quality ingredients. Our mission, and I think this is something that we share with many other projects around, is we want to accelerate the protein transition. And how we do it, basically 2 main pillars. One is the food tech innovation, delivering the delicious, nutritious, and accessible plant-based meat successors. And on the same time, spreading consciousness, creating a global community of people and building the real cost of what we eat. When it comes to the food tech part, we aim to lead this second generation of plant-based meat, not by creating the substitute, but the successor. And if we think a bit on the history of the category, well, plant-based meat substitute been in the market for centuries, but the old ones, let's say in tempeh, seitan, they were very good and nutritional, but not as good in terms of sensorial experience, the meaty experience. Then came the first generation of plant-based meat. Many brands, especially from the US, for example, they were super good at recreating the sensorial experience, the meaty experience. But when you check the nutritional part, it's maybe not as good as we would like to. And then comes HEURA, and what we do is to replicate the meaty experience, but having at the same time the best nutritional, even compared to the animal meat ones. So this is translated in having, of course, the delicious taste, only high quality ingredients, clean label, high protein content, and low saturated fats. And you may ask how we are doing this, how we're getting this plant-based meat with the best nutritional and low saturated fat. Well, our R&D team, they have created a breakthrough innovation in category, because we have created the first fat analog made only of extra virgin olive oil. This means that in comparison to other brands that are using mainly coconut oil that is basically saturated fat, we are using the best fat source that we have, and of course coming from the Mediterranean. And just to put it in context, when you compare, for example, our burger versus other burgers well known in the market in terms of fat content and saturated fat content, you can see the big difference that we have and that we are offering to the consumers, of course, and keeping the best taste always. We have different categories so far that we have launched. We have the chicken category with chunks, strips, and nuggets. We have the pork that we just recently launched here in Spain, and also the beef with burgers and meatballs. All no GMO, 100% plant-based, of course, with the BRC, IFS certificates. All our products are Nutri-Score A, that which is here in Europe is the highest standard in terms of nutritional value, and of course, consumers also can enjoy that. That's part of more the technical part. In terms of taste, yeah, our consumers and the studies that have been around always placing our products at the top level. Many times we have received that, for example, our plant-based chicken is the best in class, not only in Europe but worldwide. And also at the same time, I talk about creating this community. And yes, people is looking for brands with purpose. We have the largest plant-based meat brand community in Europe and the highest engagement in the world in the category by far. This means that people follows the brand, believes what we are communicating, and they really want to be with us for creating this revolution. And we are already the second most popular brand in Europe in the category, only behind Beyond Meat, that you all maybe know. People organically follow us, share out what we do, influencers, things that all around the world. Also, big names are part of our community. As you can see, people from Football Club Barcelona, Atletico de Madrid, MotoGP, and well-known actresses as well. And at the same time, we've been in the market for almost 4 years around, and our numbers are showing that our partners, our clients, are having a great result as well. Just for giving some examples, in some markets, we have multiplied by 3.1 the average size of the ticket. We have reduced 11 years the average age of the buyer of some retail chains, and increased the social media audience as well. This also replicated in food service with a wide range of clients from fast food chains to Michelin-starred restaurants, because the application is very, very versatile, and their result as well. One day they partner with us, they see the increase in sales, in social media and presence, and so on. And last but not least, so far we are present in 19 countries. The majority, of course, in Europe, but we have started already our first businesses in Asia, Singapore, Hong Kong, as first step in China, also in Latin America. Soon we will be landing in the Middle East. And of course, we are looking forward to getting partners in Japan and start our revolution in Japan as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Diego, for your presentation. It was lovely to hear more about HEURA and your success in Europe and the other countries. So everybody who wants to network with HEURA, please join our networking session. We are out of time, but we have 3 more speakers. Can we have a 5-minute extension? I hope so. Yes. So I would like to invite Noah from Chickpea. And if possible, with the other 3 speakers, if we can go a little bit faster because we're running out of time. So Noah, please share your screen. Diego, could you please stop sharing your screen? Thank you. So Noah from Israel, could you please kick off your presentation? Thank you.
Hello, good evening, everyone in Tokyo and everywhere else. Hi, Paulina. Thank you so much for having us in this exciting event. We have very little time, so I will try to speak very briefly and fast. Just for orientation, because we are not present in Japan as yet, and we are not a Japanese company. Why are we presenting on this webinar? First and foremost is number 3. I just imagine it's not yummy, no. Hello?
Please go ahead.
First of all, we're raising funds and always happy to connect with investors. And we're also looking for in opportunities with strategic partners in other territories. Of course, we can't say no to Paulina. This is very important, and all of the above. We are an alternative dairy company featuring in our product chickpea protein isolate as our backbone ingredients. We have developed a portfolio containing featuring yogurt, cream cheese, puddings, and milk. Our products will be the first to market featuring this super high quality chickpea protein, which makes a real difference in the substance of the product. And our market launch is planned to the US market in Q1 2022 with the plan to create our own brand. And of course, why chickpea? Chickpea as a crop and chickpea as a consumer product, processed product, offers consumers a very good protein content in comparison to other products on the dairy alternative shelves. Very high quality kind of protein that has a real claim for whole protein, unlike any other existing product. And of course, a very strong claim for sustainability, because chickpea is one of the most sustainable crops globally. It takes up very little water, almost no pesticides, herbicides, fertilizers, because it has its own capacity of tracking nitrogen from the atmosphere. Chickpea is also recognized as a superfood containing loads of vitamin, minerals, having low glycemic index, and is beneficial for various medical conditions, including cardiac.
Hello everyone. Have you ever tried plant-based meat made from sprouted beans? I'm Misato, Sales and Marketing at Daizu. I'm going to briefly talk about our product, Miracle Meat. First, let me share some of our sales examples. This is Japanese hamburger chain Freshness Burger. They sell their plant-based burger with using our material. Also, one of the biggest Japanese retailer called Aeon, they sell plant-based hamburger and minced meat at the meat section of their stores. Miracle Meat is getting popular by several reasons. That's about increased umami, less beany flavor, and improved texture. How do we make Miracle Meat? The biggest difference is that we use sprouted soybeans. This is a very unique production process. We sprout the beans first and then make a plant-based meat material. This method is called OGM, Ochi germination method, named after our CTO Koji Ochi. What we do here in this OGM process, we create a harsh situation for soybeans to grow. Then they try to fight and survive in the situation and create much amino acids. In this process, amino acids increase a lot. Compared to the original soybean, especially glutamic acid increased to 6 times of the original. Some people say there's a problem of beany flavor or unpleasant smell of the conventional soy protein. What we do to solve this problem, We use special kind of soybean with less linoleic acid, which will be a beanie off notes or unpleasant smell. In terms of texture, people say it's quite challenging to reproduce meat-like bouncy texture out of conventional plant protein. We compare the elasticity. It can be said bouncy texture. Green line is boiled chicken, red is our miracle meat, and as you can see, miracle meat has similar level of elasticity as boiled chicken. Miracle meat can be applied to many meat alternative dishes. Hope you can try them. That's all for my presentation today. Thank you for listening.
I am Vera Tinkova and I am founder and CEO of Cheese the Queen. I'm more than happy to present at this event and being part in this great shift in the food system. Cheese the Queen is the new generation of delicacy, a nutritious superfood delicacy and vegan cheese alternative. We believe in shaping more sustainable and healthier gourmet culture through delicious, wholesome plant-based delicacy. We strive to change the way the world sees and enjoys dairy and delicacies, contributing through nutritious and innovative approach. So we are creating healthy and delicious plant-based foods while inspiring happier and conscious lifestyle. We provide a conscious choice for self-care and planet wealth. We, as Cheese the Queen, are dedicated to produce better for you products that bring together taste experience, overall wellness, and joy of consuming. We see growth through positive imprint on society. Cheese the Queen believes in food evolution and new ways to indulge in the joy of food. We inspire people to achieve personal health benefits and still contribute good to the environment. Our philosophy is driven by health and wellness, environmental sustainability, and animal welfare. Cheese the Queen is premium superfood delicacy and dairy alternative connecting the healthy and gourmet. It is made from 100% fermented and compressed cashew nuts with high protein, long shelf life, aging, high nutritional values, and cool, exciting visual language. It is in 6 exciting flavors, including classic, green pepper, truffle, black garlic, pink pepper, and turmeric. This is a multifunctional product which could be consumed raw for the benefits of life cultures, the probiotics, or grilled for the taste experience. Our key factors are taste experience, overall well-being, and joy of consuming, and the keys are high nutritional values, probiotic, and multifunctionality. Thank you very much.